Okay, so I would like to give a recap. This is Dr. Wendy Rowley. We are finally into a fresh live stream for the June Solstice 2025. We seem to have some technical issues with sound, and my understanding is we have those fixed now, even though it doesn't register that the sound is loud. So that's a mystery. But apparently from my friends end, everything is good. I have a friend checking. Okay, so we began this great global healing party by guidance with some friends on the other side of the veil who do the work on the grids in January 2024. And we do the solstices and equinoxes and the Lion's Gate of August. And for January, March, June, August, and September of 2024, we began with setups and the clearing of some soul group complexes that we all share. Things like the fear of planetary destruction, the fear of the annihilation of consciousness, and things of that nature. And we were preparing for the December solstice of 2024, which was the first healing of the human consciousness grid, where we cleared the angel-devil complex between men and women. Since then, we know that these healings are received individually and through the soul are given collectively to all on the human consciousness grid. We know that this is a fast-track scrubbing of the human consciousness grid of old ancestral consciousness. And we know this year we are healing out old religious constructs. In March of the 2025 Great Global Healing Party, we healed out My Religion is the True Religion. This June, we're going to heal out You Have to Be Punished to Evolve. And in September or this coming fall, we're going to heal that you are not pure enough to evolve. And in the December solstice, we're going to clear reasons why you can't evolve, which I think is a general category of feelings. In August 2024 of the Lionsgate portal, we made a divine intelligence upgrade into the portal. You can think of divine intelligence as the key that gets the whole great machinery at the periphery of the planet to clear the grids, and in our individual higher self soul interface, it allows things to go forward. It's kind of like the major key. This August in 2025, we're going to do an upgrade of Christ into the new divine intelligence path of this new portal, or the portal, the Lionsgate portal. But we now have a bigger picture and more is unfolding to come. We now know, or you all now know with me, the Great Global Healing Party is a 3-year event, and this solstice marks the halfway point. This is part of a larger cycle of a fast-track healing opportunity that we have on the earth to heal up until around 2066. So we have a window between 2025 and 2066 to continue, and other groups to continue having the ability to heal the human consciousness grid. We know there are 5 great global healings a year over these 3 years for a total of 15 healings. Now, I work with Aliania and the Palladian Mothers of Sound, and they work with others, and they laid these grids and gave us our 24th chromosome, interdimensional DNA that gives us this connection to the creative source and our divinity at the soul level. And she says that because we're in a quantum entangled state of the soul, there are actually 36 healings that are available within these 15 healings. The other thing that we now know is that in this June healing, we are halfway through the Great Global Healing Party window, which I said, but something different is now going to be added. We're going to be able to heal at the individual level at night by a pre-set up intent to heal what we did at the group level this night during a great global healing party, or even after your everyday day. An example of that intent is so simple. Dear soul and creator, that which we healed at the group level, heal at my individual level this night. And there's more explanation to come on why this is. The third thing that we now know about the Great Global Healing Party starting this June is that there are gifts that are going to be available for individuals. So the Great Global Healing Party is like a soul kitchen, whereby the soul can give an individual enhancements for use now or in the future. So if one listens to all 15 Great Global Healing Parties live or later at your own pace from the YouTube Wonder of Human Design, even if my voice seems to cut out, just hang in there because you'll hear certain sounds come in. And unfortunately, that's the YouTube live stream. When I do it through Zoom, it works really beautifully, but I can't turn on all the Zoom things, and it keeps your setting to a new live playlist. I can only go live immediately from what I can tell, and that doesn't give me the ability to send people an email with the connection. Okay, so sorry about the tech problems. So there are now the gifts for the individuals. So these 15 Great Global Healing Parties, listen to live or at your own place on the YouTube Wonder of Human Design channel in the Great Global Healing Party playlist. One will have setups to keep for their individual level for individual sleep healing intents and the other gifts that are given. But in 2066, these will be turned off at the human consciousness grid level, although you will retain the individual upgrades. The first gift, as I said in June of this 2025 year, our halfway point, is the ability to bring healing into not just the dream space, but into all 4 levels of the dream space. That's interim sleep, sleep, dream, and interim dream. And this gives the ability to ask the soul and creator to have that individual healing at night while you sleep. So I work with Aliania. She will come through and speak at some point. So why are these gifts being given? She says those who are usually drawn to this work are the healers, and the new enhancements and gifts given are going to stay with them so that in the future, they will have an extra edge in healing that will be beneficial, and this is purposeful. And that's what she had to say about that. In the Lionsgate 2025, in this coming August, there will also be a preview of what we're going to heal through the rest of 2025 and through 2026. So, because of some new things, this Great Global Healing Party will now start to become a little different. Previously, we healed in these events in the 4 levels of healing: spirit, the spirit body, the higher self, the creational level, and the heart path. And now we're going to add 2 more to this little healing list. Now there's the creational death bardo in this from now until we conclude in December 2026. This is in preparation for the new Christ end of life or death bardo coming in 2028, 2029, and 2030. The death bardo, or the end of life bardo, is well known in Oriental medicine. It is the 3-day window you go through after you leave this incarnation or lifetime. Aliena says that it is 3 days to us on this side of the veil, but a much shorter period for the person who has passed, as time is different on the other side of the veil. There is more about the Christ coming into the end of life bardo on the Wonder of Human Design website in the monthly wisdom channels and in the 3 new playlists on YouTube that are there now and beginning: the New Heart Connection, How to Have a Peaceful Life, and How to Have a Peaceful Heart. But to summarize for understanding right now, the end of life or death bardo is being upgraded to the ancestral benevolent energy from which our healing forces come down through, from our souls, and the new Christ connections, so that there'll be good feelings of what the right path is. And we're dropping off of the old lower karmic akash of the difficult feelings. That's dropping away. So this is a profound, profound change that happens at the Great Shift. It's a big one. So we have the addition of these healings going forward, of adding that end of life bardo, because that's where these healings actually are taking place. It's a space between, for those who are healers and know, the white yellow consciousness healing layer coming down from the noosphere, which is our collective consciousness around the planet. And the setups were put there prior, and they percolated down last year through the white yellow consciousness healing layer. And next year, these divine feminine upgrades, I sort of missed that, are going into the blue-green healing layer. But all the changes for the end of life bardo happen in a window between those 2 healing layers, and it goes over to the human consciousness grid. If you were interested in that, some people are kind of techie that way. So now we have also the addition of the gifts. And let's go into what this gift is more about. It's, as we said, the ability to intent before sleep to ask the soul to heal in all 4 levels of the dream space. And we said there are 4 levels: interim sleep, sleep, dream space, and interim dream space. This is where the soul each night around 2 in the morning, the soul will pick up the experiences and synchronicities of the coming day and bring in what can be healed and what can be achieved. So with this connection, one can ask the soul to heal in the dream space at night at the individual level what you healed that day in consciousness at the group level. Because we are constantly creating, and sometimes all the soul needs, about 95% of the time, to heal is a change in consciousness. And you might have had some ahas in your day, and your soul can clear them at your individual level at night. Our spiritual anatomy is designed that we are an individual at the same time we are the group. And our higher self, which is our earthly incarnational recording kind of a energetic, starts out as an individual, but it morphs into a group higher self as it moves on to the human consciousness grid. And then we have our connection at the soul level out in the greater field, where we all first come into the planet and hook in. So we are amazing, and we are enmeshed in this planet in creational ways in a most profound way. And it's just a beautiful system. So let's see. Sorry, a little side there. I have so much today that I have to write it all down. Okay, so with this, one can heal at the group level at night, at the individual level, what you did at the group level. So that's a very cool aspect of this gift. And it will be with you individually from henceforth. And when the grid quantum entanglement fast track shift healing is turned off in 2066, you will still have this. For women, there is an addition in this surprise gift that is the ability to do the same in the women's creational level with the sleep suggestion, because women have an additional energetic part, an energetic anatomy, spiritual anatomy that men do not have. Okay, so you, of course, have the choice to accept these gifts or not. Okay. And lastly, this is the first healing that includes healing in the old Lemurian death bardo. So the results for better sleep for all going forward, in case you are one of those that had trouble sleeping after these great global healing parties, should be better. Should be better sleep for all. Okay, so let's talk about the healing for those who are new or find their way to this tape on YouTube. For those who like to sort of feel what's going on through the sound or in their own energetic spiritual anatomy, because they're juicy energy healers, and that's not, something they have the sensitivity for. We have 5 physical and 5 spiritual senses, and people percolate their spirit and their soul and higher self through those in various ways based on the incarnations and the sensing and the creating that they have done. So it's different for everyone. Sight, smell, speech, taste, hearing, and feeling. Okay, that's why I like doing this out loud in sound, because it adds an extra depth. So what we do is, as we work through spirit body, higher self, creational, and heart path, the old Lemurian death bardo, and then the gift, there Alienia makes a pause in between each little section for those who might remember and go, oh, okay, I feel that now. I feel that in the heart. Okay, so when there are melodic sounds that are sort of beautiful and vowels, and that's your soul enlivening your interim spirit body, which is kind of like the change body, that then over time and evolution changes our spirit body. And we share a higher self spirit body in 3 places in these grids. So we even create our physical form as a group as we evolve through millions and millions and millions of years. The little engine sounds that are like brr, 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 that's when the healing is happening. If you hear a poof, that's a block that's being released. And if you hear wind sounds, that's something that's moving out through one of the 8th, 11th, or 17th filter. So let us begin. I am going to, okay, sorry, I just got a note from my friend. I thought I'm just checking for technical problems. So I'm going to get out of the way and see, sometimes Alienia comes and shares some information with us ahead, and then we'll begin the healing. And we usually keep these short and sweet. They're usually under an hour. Okay, I will see you on the other side. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. This is Alienia of Cosmic Service, a Pleiadian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, and peace be with you. We are going to eventually get this whole Zoom and Zoom to YouTube interface figured out. And I'm going to put a shout out if there's anyone out there who would like to get paid by this one to help her, who has that knowledge. She would appreciate it because she's tried on several times. And from her perspective, she has a lot to handle and she could use the help. Thank you for that. Okay, so what I would like to fill you in on is the potential of something else that might happen here tonight. There's an interesting thing that happens based on who comes to these events, particularly when they're live. And even though it shows there's only 6 of you, I can tell you there's actually about 15 of you that are here live now. And enough in the quantum window where it's considered live. And we won't go into that with time right now to explain how that happens. But from our perspective, there's 15. And there's someone here who has a very unique gift. Now, this one has started to see in her work that when she's getting together with groups, small groups of women, there's started to be a sharing of gifts. And this is because of the work that she's mentioned that is going on for the Christ into the end of life bardo is how we like to say it, because it's a more kind word than the word death. And so because of the connections that are now there, which is why this healing could go forward, at the soul group level, there's the ability up till 2066 to share gifts. And there's someone here who has a beautiful, beautiful gift that we would like to share with all the women who listen to this now or in the future. That gift is the ability to not only heal with the soul in the dream space, but to be able to heal at the soul higher self interface, which is another profound level. So the soul can heal its soul connection in the dream space, which is what this gift was. But because that person is here, we can use her quantum entangled soul force and give all of you the higher self ability to do that also, which is just a little bit deeper into your feeling nature so that you will feel more of the relief when you wake up. So you can think of the higher self almost like a bridge between the soul and you in a body. Not only does it take in all of your experiences, both positive and negative, you're creating both for the greater good of all or not. And even though it takes all of that on in its little body, and as you heal, it actually becomes more beautiful, more luminous. But when you first see it, it can look almost very bizarre. And then you heal and heal and heal out all this old Lemurian anatomy that is no longer active and things that are changing right now at the Great Shift. And it becomes a beautiful spirit body looking golden, goldeny white, goldeny orange, looking spirit in front of you. And so the higher self also is very connected to those senses that you have at the physical and spiritual level, which actually go from your physical body all the way up to the soul. And you can think of the higher self on the human consciousness grid as being a go-between for that. You don't need that in what we call the Christ or soul mastery grid, which this one referenced, where you first come and plug into the planet. And you don't have that in what's called the soul creational grid or the interim Christ grid, which is like a change grid, just the way your interim spirit body is a change body. So you can think of that as almost like a group consciousness interim change higher self spirit body, the whole thing, even though there's many, many aspects and other connections and layers and dimensions and things within all of that soup. You can think of it that way. So that's something that is another surprise. And should you want it, you give the okay. Should you not, then you say we will not. Now, just so you know, there is a little bit of sound difference with the live stream. She set the microphone to try something to pick up background noises. But unlike her wonderful Shure M7 microphone that through Zoom has an ability to have sound for musicians, which picks up all the sound, until she gets this live stream thing figured out and maybe gets a helper to help her who can set it up at their end and just push those two buttons between Zoom, and she lets them into the Zoom account and she lets them into the YouTube account, and they can do that for her. And there would be some perks for that, we can tell you that. If there's anyone that has that ability and they could help assist her, that would greatly relieve a lot of stress and pre-nerves for her when she does this. So we're sorry for the sound problem. That was most likely due to thunderstorms that came through her area just before this event tonight. And we apologize if the sound cuts out while she is doing this, but just hold fast in there and know that it is all happening. You will hear me at the end because I'm going to come back and say a few things before she signs off. So if you are ready, we're ready. the Pleiadian mothers, and many, many other groups going all the way up to the human consciousness grid. For we do not do this alone either. We actually work with Christ angels and Christ archangels up at the grid level, if we may be so bold as to say. And that's the word you have for them now, angels and archangels. All right, so here we go. And she's explained it well, so we're just going to begin. When it's the healing part with the little engine sounds, so you don't have to look up her nose on a public YouTube, she has learned to shift her face to the camera. And sometimes if her head goes back, it means you're in the old Lemurian anatomy. But that's going to happen less and less as we continue through this party. Okay, that would be nice for her. Okay, here we go. All right, dearest beings of light, this is Alienia of Cosmic Service, Palladian Mother of Sound. We have concluded all the things we mentioned, the 5 levels of healing and the level of the gift, and for women, the extra level of the gift. And because, as we mentioned earlier, there's now the ability to share soul gifts through certain activators like this one. She's not the only one. And there was someone here who will be within this window of a live stream in quantum time, not way in the future, but maybe tomorrow. And they're still within the window of the quantum time of the soul because it might be a different time zone for them. And they have a unique gift. They have the ability to do the healing to the higher self level between the group higher self and the individual higher self in the dream space. And you all got that shared. So this will be like you can make that intention at night for your soul to heal the individual level of anything your consciousness had ahas about and shifted something out, or after these great global healing parties, or after any juicy energy work you do with an individual healer or in a group setting. And that is now active, and it's also active down to the higher self, group, individual interface, which means you'll have a little bit more of a palpable feeling of feeling the difference when you wake up in the morning. We're going to come out and say, this one doesn't like to be self-referenced. She wants us to be about everyone, that we do this together, and the Great Global Healing Party, and how we are just coming together as a unity mind. That's actually one of the things that's going on at the periphery of the planet. The unity field was divided into 3 things for different aspects: the soul, the higher self, and you and the body, which has 3 aspects. And it's all being united into one field, and that's unity consciousness. And so this one wants it to be about the work, about how magnificent you are, and that you hold on to that every day. But sometimes we use her as a reference, so we're going to just tell her, get out of the way. So this one being a tri-activator, and we're going to explain this because there's some people who really want to understand this. The ability to do this is because this one is what's called a tri-activator. Now, when you come into the planet and you're a newbie and you haven't had a lot of incarnations, you still, like everyone on the planet, have what's called a Christ healing spirit body. In the future, you will have a different name for this once some certain discoveries come forward with your sciences, and you will rename it because of the confusion of Christ healing force, the Master Yeshua, the Christ meaning the anointed one in different languages and Greek and ancient Aramaic. And so it's a confusing term. And in some people, it lights them up with religious pictures from their past incarnations where maybe they were punished for that. So words can have a way of lighting people up. They bring that disharmony to the forward into their energetic anatomy. So this one's like, oh, I started to think, get out of the way, get out of the way. Just give her a sec. So the newbie coming into the field, into the planet, gets a Christ healing spirit body. And that's so that everyone can heal. It's part of the paradigm here. Sometimes farther along, or if you were of the soul groups, as far out as it sounds, who came in the 3 epochs of the Lemurian epoch. There was Lemuria, there was an area called Ila'alaha, or Ila'alaha, it's a big long word, but this one gets a little nervous with words, numbers, and names, but that'll get healed, it's coming. And another one called Anna. And we have said you will discover Anna by some ruins in certain sections of the Arctic that are melting while the other sections are increasing in ice. But some ruins will be found there, and that's Anna. Not much to be found, but we'll just let you know that's Anna. And so if you were back in those epochs and you were called to temple work or a healer and such not, you might have gotten a 2nd and 3rd spirit, Christ healing spirit body, which is where this one got hers. And she runs into people all the time who have them. Now, you can also get them in other ways through people who have them at a triactivator level and can give you a second one. But that's all changing. The group events that are coming forward through this one in the Women's Great Global Healing Parties, which are on her websites and on the YouTube, little reference, but mostly on the Wonder of Human Design website. And we're referencing it in some of the audio playlists on YouTube. Every woman that goes to that will be getting a second Christ healing spirit body. So that means that you have the ability to do resonance healing. And that's another level of soul, the ability to resonate healing forces, particularly through women. The soul, through a second Christ healing spirit body, can resonate healing forces through your aura, from the benevolent Akash, through your hands as a healer, and through your voice. And so there'll be a lot of upgrades for women at the shift change time in the Women's Great Global Healing Parties. The point of which is to heal the heart field of the human consciousness grid and make changes there, because only women can do this because of that third energetic anatomy. So this one is able to do this work because she has the 3 and she trained to do that. And here she is. But we wanted you all to have understanding that many, many gifts can be shared at this time. And your soul decides when they'll be turned on, either now or in a future lifetime, because your soul is quantum. It is sort of an all-time space, no time, all dimensions out in the greater field with the soul groups. And that's the way it is. And that's the easiest way we can say to explain it. So there will be continued gifts from now to the end of the Great Global Healing Party. And depending upon who shows up in our quantum time, we already know, but it's fun to have surprises, isn't it? Especially when they're gifts. But, and so depending upon who shows up at the live events within a certain window of quantum time down to your time, other gifts from other people that join in can be shared. And that's what we have to say about that. The final thing we wish you to know is that in the Lionsgate August Great Global Healing Party, because there's 5 a year, and the 5th one is the not an equinox or solstice. The 5th is on the Lionsgate of August, which is a galactic portal out to the cosmos. And at that party, there's going to be something very profound beyond what she mentioned about a Christ upgrade into the divine intelligence, in the new divine intelligence in that portal. And we're not going to speak about it now, but we just want you to know, if you're into that work, into this work, and you feel the call to do this work, if not, there's plenty of other people out there. Just keep searching. You'll find your flavor. But if you're drawn to this one's work and it rings in your heart and you're feeling that little soul friction of soul urge to sort of check this out or do more, or maybe go to one of these Women's Great Global Healing Parties or whatever is going to unfold, the Lionsgate Live is going to be a unique opportunity that won't be for the people outside of the quantum window who listen to it later on YouTube. And we just wanted you all to know that. It's not a sales plug. It's just that the particular gift we're talking about has to be done in a quantum live real time, which is why and what the Women's Great Global Healing Parties are about. They're live together, and it has to be done in that kind of a soup. And that's just the way some of the soul forces work through your anatomy, from all the way out where you're connected to the creator when you first come into the planet, and you plug your soul into the system, all the way through these grids and all the way down to you in a body. Certain connections have to be done live. And we just wanted you to know that before we ended by saying, you are dearly loved, expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. Peace be with you. Okay, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley. I'm back. That's a pretty quick transition for the work. And I don't really have much to say um, on the Wonder of Human Design website. There are tons of contact forms all over. And if you would like to share something about any experiences you had or any questions you've had, you're welcome to go there. I haven't always put the chat on because I'm doing so much, obviously, at this end. But and I have comments on, but most people might not be comfortable commenting about those things or even about this work. It was not my intention to be the poster child for making weird sounds and very far out spiritual proclamations on the public forum of the web. But you never know what your soul mission is. And I had someone say to me once, it's the one that you are most likely being kicked and dragged into doing. I had no web presence up until this, and so excuse the tech, excuse the learning. As you know, we began in January 2024 with this level. So I thank you for your patience. I thank you. I hope all the sound came forward for you. And I'm going to sign off. We're usually under an hour. Yep, we did it. And I hope you have a wonderful summer, and I'll see you maybe at the Great Global Healing Party in August at the Lionsgate. Bye-bye.